Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankarasharyamajamam Asmadasharya Paryantam Bande Guru Param Param Ishvaro Guratmeti Mochi Beda Vibhagine Vyomabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sava Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatoshmaham Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste. We have seen last class, verse 33, the class ended abruptly, yeah. And I just want to revise a little bit the concept of adhistanam, which is a base, a support, or a ground on which the universe is projected, okay? So as we have realized, the Mandukya, Karika, is where all concepts somehow are removed. So we remember Vedanta is about superimposition, and then later on we just we take back those statements, those concepts, those notions. So and this happens big time with this text. Again, another concept being taken away from us is that adhistanam is meaningless and makes no sense. Once you understand that the superimposition is not real. So a base on which a superimposition occurs is relevant as an intermediary teaching to bring about the distinction between the substratum and the appearance, the project appearance. So we introduce such a Mithya, and then later on we have to remove even whatsoever reality we have attributed at the beginning to Mithya. The same principle, the same tools, Adhyaropa and Vada. Superimposition, and then later on we get back there and we retract, we take back those notions. So there is no point in bringing all these concept of the base, the ground, the foundation, the support for Mithya, because once we come to the conclusion that Mithya is as good as non-existent, although we live in Mithya. So that's why Mithya is the most difficult aspect of the teachings. And Maya Mithya is the most difficult. So Brahma Satya, I am Satya. The world is Mithya, and Jivatma and Paramatma Aikya are the same. So those are the three principles. So the most difficult is Mithya, to relate to this world that we experience every day with a firm understanding that it belongs to another order, which is not really real, but it is a projection. And then one feels like, so this is crazy, because if Mithya is a projection, and if I am an integral part of Mithya, and then I am a projection. And then we have to understand yes and no, as Vedanta says. If I take myself to be the body-mind, matter, energy, I am just a superimposition. But if I take myself to be the substratum, if I take myself to be Satya, the only reality, Brahman, the spirit, and then I'm not superimposition, I'm not a projection. No, I'm not a Mithya body-mind. I am the Atma, and my Jiva is a superimposition, is a mere projection. It's not real, no? Because we need to go all the way down to the essential nature of the Jiva Atma. And then we hold the Atma, and then we accept the Mithya aspect of the Jiva, within the Jiva Atma, as the instrument by which I can interact in this apparent order, because only in the apparent order I can extract the knowledge in respect to the absolute reality, which is the adhisthana of Mithya, which is the support, the base, the ground. Yeah? The screen, the mirror. Do you understand, Philip? So, and then it brings us back to the concept of a turiya, which is another concept that needs to be understood as more concept, which is just something that is present to be retracted later on again. Turiya is silence in reference to those three letters of the Om. And then once you go and you analyze those three aspects of this fundamental vibration of the universe, and then you come to the silence. Silence would be said to be the absolute reality. And here it says, so we negate everything, and then the absolute reality cannot have any name. No? And then we say the best thing is to take the ultimate reality to be the silence. And this is something tricky, because the scriptures do not refer to the silence as opposed to the sound, Is a silence in which the human mind does not take any concept to be real, any and all concepts. You understand? So that is the silence. It's not the lack of thoughts. It's not a state of no mind. It's not the destruction of the mind, but to know that any concept is a byproduct of the mind. The mind is Mithya. It was already established. All its concepts is just manifestations of Mithya. And then we have to understand that the silence is the firm conviction that all concepts are not real. It's not that you should not engage in any concept, because life is to learn through concepts. It's just that all concepts are just not real. What is the reality? I consciousness. Everything is happening within myself. Nothing escapes consciousness, as we say. So again, we need to remove these concepts, even the silence, which refers to turiya, needs to be removed at the very end. What is there then? And then Swami says the truth is there without even the word turiya or silence. You understand? The truth is the belief that I am the truth, the consciousness in which all concepts come and go. You understand? I am the only reality. No word can define me, consciousness, because I'm not an object of knowledge or description. I am of the nature of Satchitananda, existence, consciousness of limitless nature. I am the only reality, is the truth. Even the word silence is commonly understood from the standpoint of sound. Therefore, we negate everything. The Advaita, Adhisthanam, we negate Turiya, we negate the silence. We just understand these words, these concepts are pointers, pointing to the light of consciousness, which is revealing, illumining and revealing all concepts. Concepts are objects, conceptual objects. They occur within me. So we need to use words. Ramana Maharaj made a great effort to teach by staying silent. So I don't know how well that went. I know that he has taught the hearts and the mind of many people. No? But we need words because the human mind operates through words, and it's programmed to use words that are extremely misleading in respect to its true nature as happiness and security. So we need to use notions and words to neutralize bad notions and words, but not to cling to these Vedantic words. They have to be let go at the end, once we have come to our final destination. Yeah, Mandukya Karika, the destroyer of all Vedantic concepts. How about that? Verse 34, this plurality does not exist as identical with the self, Atma, nor does it exist on any account by itself. An object is neither different nor non-different from another. Thus, the knowers of reality understand. So this Mithya world of plurality, diversity of names, colors, and forms and concepts do not exist as real, as identical to Atma, the reality. And if it does not exist as identical to Satya, one would say it does exist as Mithya on the account of itself. So this is a mirage, and mirage exists on its own account. As we know, the mirage does not exist on its own account because it requires certain physical conditions, yeah, and the sand, and other things. So it does not have its own existence. And it does not have existence in reality, in the self as well. And then he says, an object is neither different nor non-different from another. So an object is defined in relation to other objects because every object is defined according to its qualities and attributes. Here it said that an object is neither different nor equal to any other object. So again, more destruction of Vedantic concepts. Thus the knowers of reality understand it. So this is another profound verse. At the empirical level, this world is called Mithya. This world is called Mithya world. How should we understand Mithya? The most difficult thing in Vedanta is intellectually grasping the notion of Mithya. We use all these examples and metaphors to understand. Fundamentally, Mithya is that which appears to be something, but once closely examined, we see that that appearance is not real. Vedanta gives several definitions to help us to understand Mithya. The dream world does not come under the category of either existent or non-existence, but comes under the seemingly existent category. So this analogy, the dream world in parallel compared to the awakened world, is one of the most profound examples of Vedanta metaphors. And it requires profound nididhyasana until we we grasp the Mithya nature of both worlds, the dream world and the awakening world. And we have been going through several of these analyses. The dream world cannot be said to be real because it is something that appears and disappears. When I wake up as a visual, the dream world disappears. So therefore, I have no problem to discard the dream world as far as reality goes. There is no trace. Very often we cannot go back to that dream, no? But it was experienced. It is available. Every night we dream, and some dream in the afternoon taking a nap as well. But the definition of a real existence, yeah, the metaphysic definition, is that which exists at all times and not subject to change. It is as it is at all times. So anything that is impermanent is not defined as reality from the philosophical standpoint. And there is some tangible logic to it. Something that appears and disappears. Now, we can never really give it much reality or importance. We know we cannot count on something that come and go. Once we develop a certain maturity, not to get hooked up with things that appear and disappear. And the body, the physical body being one of them. No? Anything that come and go is not something worth it. The dream world cannot be said to be non-existence because we experience it every night. In the dream world appears to be very real for the dreamer. But its experience is available. Mithya is that which neither exists nor non-exists. Is sat, asat, vilakshama. Okay, not real, nowhere real. It is what? Apparently real, seemingly real. Yeah? Gaudapada gives one more definition for the Mithya world, otherwise called Anatma. Anatma is called Mithya because you cannot say that is identical with the Atma. Beautiful, huh? Another angle. So Anatma, which is the objects projected by Maheshwara, this Mithya, yeah, order, it is not identical with the seer. And it's different from Atma. Let me read his words here to follow precisely his thread of thought. Anatma is called Mithya because you cannot say that is identical with Atma. And you cannot say that is different from Atma also. So in which way this Mithya world or this Anatma world is identical and not identical to Atma? It's seemingly existent, but it's not available for any definition. The human intellect does not clearly understand this phenomenon. Mithya is not identical or different. You cannot say that Anatma is identical with Atma because Anatma is inert, subject to modifications, and bound by time, whereas Atma is consciousness and is free from all those above mentioned factors. So In which way we can say that it's not different from Anatma is the fundamental question here. So it's just because Atma, in which way we can say that it's not different from the Atma? Because as we know, the mantra, our most important mantra is all there is Brahman, all there is the self. So if we have the sky and then sometimes you have stars, sometimes you have a rainbow, sometimes you have clouds. You look at all of that, you say there, but what is really there is space. You understand? So everything is a projection, superimposition that occurs, a reflection, occurs what? In the light of consciousness, fundamentally. But the Jiva Atma is not a small thing, because it is in the human mind that we can verify that nothing escapes consciousness, because the mind is an instrument of consciousness to capture, experience, and gain knowledge. So everything is Brahman, everything is Turiya, everything is the self, and by that we mean everything is consciousness. The key here is to understand, and consciousness is my true fundamental intrinsic nature, identity. So everything is happening in me just as a reflection on a lake, or just like a superimposition on a screen. But we can never say that the Atma is Anatma, because Anatma is inert. Everything appears as a superimposition in consciousness. Therefore, we say all these superimpositions or projections are but the self, consciousness. Okay, it's a power within consciousness. We call it the Maya Shakti that brings about these superimpositions. But we can never say that Brahman or consciousness or Turiya is identical to Anatma, because Anatma is matter, energy, which is fundamentally inert or not self-conscious. And then we have here another situation. If we say the Anatma world is not self-conscious, how come here and there we say that the Jiva-Atma is self-conscious and Jiva-Atma is integral part of the Anatma world? So is there a contradiction? No, there isn't. Again, the Jiva-Atma in its physical, energetic, body-mind nature is not conscious. How so if we call the Jiva as the most intelligent self-conscious entity in the planet? Yeah, it is self-conscious, but it gains consciousness from its original true nature. It enjoys a certain consciousness because it has a subtle body that shines with consciousness, giving the opportunity to the Jiva-Atma to grasp this original consciousness is my true fundamental free nature. But the body-mind is what? Is matter/energy, therefore it's inert, but it dances with consciousness and becomes self-conscious. I am, and I know that I am. I exist, and I know that I exist. And I experience this inert world. And then I read the script. Oh my God, the scriptures say that I am inert as well. No. The entire world is pervaded by consciousness, but only jivas, sentient beings, enjoy self-consciousness, or reflected consciousness. Are we following?
I think this verse is going to take a lot of thought. It's very, very deep waters, as they say.
Yeah, and we can see that Swami Paramarthananda elaborates a lot on this verse. He goes over 2 pages. So this is the other definition of Mithya. Mithya is present as Anatma, and the self, Satya, as Atma. You can never say that they are identical, but you can never say that they are different. So Anatma resolves itself in its fundamental nature, which is Atma, but Atma does not resolve itself in Anatma, because Anatma is inert. It's just Namarupas, superimposition on consciousness. They cannot be one and the same. Why not them? Why not then have two different things, consciousness and matter? Gaudapada says no. One has to look at the definition of Atma Satchitananda. Again, we say that this universe we experience, which is available for appearance and experience, is composed by two principles. One is matter and the other is spirit or consciousness. Huh? And here again, we are retracting that notion, say, why not then have two different things, consciousness and matter? Gaudapada says, no, there is no consciousness in matter, there is only consciousness. And he presents the logic. You have to look at the definition of the self, Atma, as Satchitananda. The first word is that Sat, and thus Atma is defined as pure existence, existent, Sat. If you say Anatma is different from Atma, it will mean that Anatma is different from reality, meaning that it's non-existent. Yeah? The definition of Sat is that which is, okay, existence, the isness of everything. As we know, the physical material Anatma world is as well. So there is a sense of existence to this physical material universe. But although it is, it's not really real. No? And therefore the difficulty, you know? So anything that is experienced and known has a certain existence. But this existence is not self-contained in that thing. It somehow is transferred from consciousness to that thing. It has the isness. Everything has isness, Sat nature, and this Sat nature comes from I consciousness. The first word is that Sat, and thus Atma is defined as existence. If you say Anatma is different from Atma, it will mean that Anatma is different from Sat, meaning that it's non-existent. And then we have again a problem. Anything that is different from Atma cannot exist. Anything that exists because of Sat, which is one of the natures of Brahman or consciousness or Turiya, Sat, Chit, of non-dual nature. Anything that is different from Atma cannot exist, because Atma being Sat, anything other than Atma will be a Sat, non-existence. This would mean that any Anatma will be non-existent. Therefore, one cannot say that Anatma is different from Atma. No? We cannot say that the existence of the world is different from the existence of Brahman, because if there is Sat in the physical material world, when we look at the universe, we see intelligent living creatures, and then we understand as, oh no, there is God in this Namarupa. Right? But as we know, even the stones, they have Sat, they have existence as well. So we can never take anything, you can never take the fundamental essential nature of anything, because that fundamental essential nature is the substratum Brahman, Satchitananda, yeah, pervading the entire universe. Anatma is neither identical nor different from Atma. It enjoys existence that is, for lack of a better concept, it's landed by Satchitananda, by existence itself. It enjoys an appearance existence that, although it's not continuous, but yet it is available to be experienced. Therefore, it has a Sat element to it. Anatma is neither identical nor different from Atma. In the same way, the rope snake is neither identical nor different from the rope. This is another very, very important metaphor that appears again and again in the deep waters of Vedanta. Anatma is neither identical nor different from Atma. The same way the snake superimposed on the rope is neither identical with the rope nor different from the rope. If you remove the rope from the rope snake, where is the rope snake stand? You see the rope snake, and then you remove the rope, and then there is no rope snake. So this rope snake somehow exists in the rope, therefore it's not completely different from the rope. But it's not the same. But it's not the same. It's not the same because it appears due to lack of knowledge and disappears when knowledge comes back. And then it is a conditional rope snake, which is not completely different because you depend on what? You depend on the ground, the foundation, that adistana of the rope snake, which is the rope. So the substratum is there, therefore we can never say it's completely different, but it's not the same. Because once we closely examine it, we see that it's just a superimposition due to misunderstanding or mistaken apprehension. A rope snake is not identical with the rope because the snake is sentient and the rope is insentient. So the rope snake can never be identical, also because the rope is an insentient being and the snake is a sentient being. And then if I see a rope snake and I stand there and the rope snake does not move for a period of time, sooner or later I'm going to realize that it was a projection of my mind. No? The rope snake cannot exist apart from the rope. This is the second definition of Mithya. Shankaracharya says in Vivekachudamani, Anatma, Maya, cannot be said as real or non-existence or a combination of real and non-existence. It's not separate or non-separate from reality, Brahman, and nor is a combined in nature of separate and non-separate, does not have parts, and it's neither a partless whole, as we often say, nor combined in nature. This Maya is a great wonder and cannot be categorically explained. Very profound. So this Maya, this Anatma, this Mithya universe cannot be said to be real, cannot be said as real or non-existent, either real or unreal. You can say apparent real, but to say it's non-existent cannot be said. And it's not a combination. It's real, but there is a little bit of non-existence to it. No. It's not separate or non-separate from reality. Okay, Maya comes and projects something, and then it stands on its own and does not need reality to support it. No, it's not separate and also not non-separate. Okay? So this Anatma, Mithya world, is not separate or non-separate from consciousness or Brahman. It's neither combined in nature of separate and non-separate, real and not real, combination of both. No, this is not separate and separate the same way we could say that the rope snake is not separate nor non-separate from the rope. And we can never say that it's a part of Brahman, that this rope snake is a part of the rope, or it's not a part of the rope. I mean, we can never really understand this phenomenon. We experience the world, the phenomenal world. This Maya, this Mithya is a great wonder and cannot be categorically explained. So these are wise, profound words. The pluralistic universe does not exist identical with Atma, nor does it exist by itself apart from the Atma. It is undefinable and inexplicable, just like the rope snake or the dream world. So the world of diversity, plurality, division, duality does not exist by itself, and it's not identical to the Atma, to the self, to consciousness. We can never really define what it is and how it comes about. We say that it comes about due to avidya, ignorance, but even that concept is going to be sooner or later retracted. It is undefinable and inexplicable, just like the rope snake can never be explained philosophically, and much less the dream world. Thereafter, Gaudapada makes another more profound statement. One needs to meditate on this statement until one fully grasps the meaning. We experience so many objects in front of us. Each object appears to be different from one another. we experience plurality, diversity of objects. Everything appears to be different from everything else. Therefore, we experience difference everywhere in life. Vedanta asks, what is the nature of difference? Upon inquiry, difference is another aspect of Mithya. Mithya is a flux of different namarupas, yeah, constantly changing, arriving and departing, and composed in such a way with different properties and qualities that differs everything from everything else. And that is true even for a flake of snake, according to science. This universe never repeats, not 2 flakes of snow. So we experience difference everywhere. And this difference is another aspect of Maya, or Mithya, Mithyatva, Mayatva. Yeah? It produces plurality, diversity of objects appearing with different configurations. Difference is also Mithya. Why? We experience difference, but we cannot prove difference as a fact. We do experience difference, therefore, is an object of experience. So difference is a conceptual object. Okay, so we experience objects. So how do I know they're objects? Because they appear within my conscious mind. I know them, they are inert. And then I observe the objects and I see that they differ from one another. And then I say, oh, no. So this is a philosophical question. Why there are differences? Because of the infinite powers of Maya to present different, never repeat configurations of namarupas. And it's Mithya. We experience the difference, therefore it's Mithya. But we can never prove the difference as a fact. And then Swami presents here, a blue sky is experientially available, but it's factually not there. Difference is experientially available, but it cannot be factually proved. So he's going now to the example, one among so many examples of things that we experience and things that keep changing. The heat of the sun ray that keeps increasing and decreasing along the day, the difference on the formations of the clouds on the sky, in the sky. So anything is there in a constant flow of change, appearing to be different from one moment to another. But once we truly, carefully examine it, you can never really define the difference. What is the difference? Okay, it's another trick of Maya. If you have to experience something, you want to prove something, you have to show the relevant pramana or evidence. What is the means by which you experience difference? What can be proved by pramana cannot be accepted as a fact. What pramana is there to prove my experience of difference? Perception. Perception is going to allow us to experience difference. And as we know, perception is a good pramana to experience the Mithya world, which is a constant flux of change, defined by varieties of different namarupas. Our tradition says that no pramana is present to prove difference, because the pramana is sensorial perception. We experience difference everywhere, but there is no pramana to prove it. So when we talk about a pramana, we want to prove intellectually that there is something such as difference. This is very philosophical, by the way. We want to, and then this pramana is an instrument more in the lines of the intellect. The intellect needs logic by which I prove something. You cannot prove the concept of difference. There is no means, there is no instrument by which I can prove it. Our sense organs are meant to see sound, to touch, form, and so on. Difference, or better, does not come under any of these 5 sense categories. Difference is a concept, is not an experience gained by the 5 senses. It's a concept, intellectual concept, that is going to say the sound has changed, the smell has changed, and so on. Difference does not come under the 5 sense categories. Difference does not have sound, etc. etc. Difference is a concept, is an object, a conceptual object that is gaining the mind. Since difference does not have any attributes, the objects I perceive have attributes, but the intellect is going to say the attributes of object A are different from the object B, therefore I am experiencing difference. This difference is a concept. This concept does not prove difference. The eye see orange color and blue color. The difference between the colors orange and blue is not perceived by the eyes, but is conceived by the intellect. Therefore, difference is never perceived, but it is conceived or inferred. If the difference is not perceived, why can it not be said to be inferred, like the smoke and fire? Or maybe I was wrong. I just say inferred. It says if difference is not perceived but is concluded, conceived, why can it not be said that it is inferred, like smoke and fire? Inference will not help, because whatever you are inferring has to be based on perception. That's the fundamental thing. You are able to infer the fire because you have experienced fire and the smoke. Therefore, you see smoke, you infer fire. You can only infer things that you have perceived directly before. Because difference has never been perceived by the 5 senses, you cannot make any inference in respect to difference. Very philosophical, but makes total sense. Philosophy in Vedanta has to be sustained by clear knowledge as well, even though it may be subtle. Therefore, there is no pramana to prove difference. Difference is experienced but cannot be proved. What is experienced but cannot be proved is Mithya. Brilliant, huh? Is that which is available for experience, but you can never really prove its existence, its reality. There is a sat element in there, but you can never understand it. You can never define it. All the objects cannot be said identical with or different from one another. That's why they say it's not identical and it's not different. there are many ways we may unfold or interpret these statements, you know, because on a more gross or dense level, we can say that there are no difference because fundamentally everything is but the five elements. Anything I experiencing is the five elements, but the human mind superimpose properties and utilities to different configurations of the five elements, but everything resolves themselves on the five elements. Here we have analysis, logic proving there is no difference or non-difference between the object from a much more subtle and philosophical level. No? You can only infer that you have perceived before.
Orlando, I have a question.
Please.
This is kind of blowing my mind. So if all concepts are Mithya, and Vedanta uses concepts all the way down, there has to be some threshold where knowledge isn't really knowledge. And is that what, where you transcend knowledge in a way? Because is that the real meaning of the difference between paroksha and aparoksha? Really direct knowledge, because you have to drop all this, don't you?
Yeah. And what is the contradiction? You think that self-knowledge is another concept like any other? I think that's where you're going with this.
Yeah, maybe.
But self-knowledge is not a concept. It's just a concept for as long as it is there to neutralize the notion, the wrong concepts, aham, body as me. You use aham, aham brahmasmi, to neutralize the wrong notions and concepts. The human experience is based on experience and concepts extracted by experience. So we experience this cosmic misunderstanding that I am the body-mind. And this Vedantic Upanishad concept serves the purpose to neutralize those, to live lean, free from both knowledge and ignorance. Meaning to say what? You understood that what I am cannot be conceptualized. I am the consciousness illuminating and revealing all concepts about my nature. And the most you're going to say, nothing. Stay in silence. But inside, I am Satchitananda, which is a concept, but it's a concept totally aligned, harmonized with the true nature of reality. You understand? The nature of reality is existence and consciousness of limitless nature. So I use that concept until that concept becomes a fact. And then I don't need that tool anymore. You understand? That is just a fact. And I live from that standpoint of understanding. I have harmonized my vision of my jiva and the world with the revelations of the Vedantic scripture. So is it a concept? It is a concept in the beginning, so that the simplest analogy, you have too much acidity in your stomach. And then you take something which is the opposite, alkaline. So you have wrong notions, and then you take concepts which are revealed to us, which are absolutely in harmony with the true nature of reality. And then you apply one on the other, and then you becomes neutral. So you have acidity, you take an alkaline element, and then you are easy. you are at ease, you are peaceful, you understand? It's more or less on those lines. So there are many analogies around this topic, like in the forest, you have a thorn in your foot, and then you have to use another one to remove it. Vedanta is not about building more and more and more and more concepts, studying more and more all the scriptures, all Upanishads and Brahma Sutras, and studying Sanskrit and things like that. No, Vedanta is just applying this fundamental knowledge to the extent that it cancels my wrong knowledge and leaves me free from knowledge and ignorance, free from good knowledge and bad knowledge. And that is a Parokshayana.
Yeah. It's a gorgeous mystery, isn't it?
Yeah?
I said it's a gorgeous mystery.
Yeah. Ah, we are still on this verse, and it's already almost time. Let me see. It's finishing now. All the object cannot be said to be identical, therefore, with or different from any other objects. You can never prove difference. You can never prove identity between two objects and difference among objects. You cannot prove them to be identical because you experience difference. Difference is not real. If you experience difference, is as good as experience a lake in the desert and believing that that lake contains real water. Never believe blindly or experience. So if you experience difference, you can look from different angles, yeah, in the light of different teachings of Vedanta to understand that there are no difference. Difference cannot be proved because there is no pramana to do the proof. In short, the world is a mystery that can never be intellectually proved or understood, much less by the scientific community of people trying to find reality within irreality, which is the phenomenal world. Discounting the very light of consciousness shining in the intellect of the scientist searching for reality. It is experienced, but you cannot prove it logically. The more you go deeper, trying to understand this mysterious Mithya world, Anatma world, the more mysterious this Mithya world gets. The adhisthanam for this mysterious world is I, the Turiya Atma. So again, Swami, in the previous verse, was saying that we need to remove the concept of adhisthanam because it does not stand. Once we have determined that Mithya is as good as non-existent, but now he brings back, because we keep going back and forth, establishing this vision, this understanding that all there is Brahman, all there is consciousness, all there is Turiya. The world is as good as non-existent. Experience life, and then there is an advice from Swami. Experience life without asking too many questions. I would say experience life asking the fundamental questions. Being, who am I? What am I? What is the nature of reality? The most fundamental. But never ask questions regarding how so this world is experienced. Once we come into the deep waters of the Upanishads, Every question will produce an answer, and the answer will not satisfy, will lead to more questions. And then when we see we are trapped into philosophical notions and concepts that's going to exhaust the human intellect in pursuit of irrelevant questions or quests. It leads to riddles. That's why it's called Maya. Therefore, enjoy the world as it is. Whenever favorable conditions come, enjoy them. Oh, this is a nice statement. Appears to be contradictory with some other passages in our scriptures. But why not? So you enjoy punya, enjoy. Enjoy favorable circumstance. Whenever unfavorable circumstances come, be strong, be an adult, don't be a child, and be strong to put up with them, understanding that this is a zero-sum game. Pleasures and pains are the name of the game here. Move on. Do not talk too much. Do not talk too much. Aham Satya Jagamitya is the knowledge that liberates. Do not talk too much. This is very nice as well, no? You can talk about samsara. The people who talk is all superficial, irrelevant, samsaric talks, But there are people, some people, they experience these people, they like to talk about philosophical nature of Vedanta, and they torture me as well with those philosophical Vedantic talks. Do not talk too much about these things. Just keep in mind, Aham Satya Jagna Mithya. Jivatma, Paramatma, Aikya. This is the knowledge that liberates. Okie dokie. Om Purnamidam Purnamadam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Okie dokie. Namaste. We meet again this coming Friday. Ishwara alone. Thank you, Philippe. Thank you, everybody. Namaste.
Thank you, Alindo.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.